All right, quadratic formula challenge of the week. How many times can you recite the quadratic formula in only a single breath? Here I go. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Anyhow, let me know how it goes. Quadratic formula. We can use this to solve any quadratic equation. That's an equation that has an x squared term. Basically, if you can get your equation in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, identify your a, b, and your c, you can plug it right into the formula and it always works. I know this looks like something that gives you nightmares while you're sleeping, but it's actually awesome. If you don't know how to factor, or you have some kind of confusing equation, just break it down, find your a, b, and c, plug it in. It's always reliable. That's why it makes it so great. Okay, I'm a little out of breath. I'm tripping over my words a little bit. I'm pretty sure I just set a world record earlier, but I'm going to push through and try to get you through some examples here. All right, I got my quadratic formula little cheat sheet up here in the corner. We're going to be solving for x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. First, let's find our a, b, and our c. Our a is our coefficient of our x squared term. Since there's nothing here, it's an assumed 1. So a is going to equal 1. Our b is the term right next to the x term. This is going to be negative 3. Always remember to include any negative sign that comes in front. b is negative 3. And lastly, our c term is just our constant term with no x. That's going to be a negative 4. Using the a, b, and c that we just found with our quadratic formula, we're just going to plug everything in and go from there. That gives us x equals negative b, negative 3, plus or minus square root b, negative 3 squared, minus 4 times a, 1, times c, negative 4, all divided by 2a, or 1. Then we just simplify. Negative b, that gives us a positive 3, negative 3, plus or minus square root of negative 3 squared is 9. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 4 is 16, changes to a positive, all divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. This 9 plus 16 gives us a square root of 25, which is just 5. That gives us 3 plus or minus 5 divided by 2. Now to deal with this plus or minus, we can split that up to 3 plus 5 divided by 2 and 3 minus 5 divided by 2. That just means you're going to have two different solutions. And if we solve each of these out, 3 plus 5 is 8 divided by 2 gives us x equals 4. And 3 minus 5 is negative 2 divided by 2 gives us negative 1. And we get a final answer of 4 and negative 1 using the quadratic formula. This would be the same answer solution we'd get if we factored or used any other strategy to solve quadratic equations. Let's do one more. Here we've got 5x squared minus 8x plus 3 equals 0. Our a is going to be 5, our b is going to be negative 8, and our c is going to be 3. Plugging everything in, we're brought right to here. We can simplify that out to get 8 plus or minus square root of 4 over 10. Then square root of 4 gives us 8 plus or minus 2. Using that plus or minus, we get 8 plus 2 over 10 and 8 minus 2 over 10. And if we simplify those out, we're going to get a final answer of x equals 1 and 3/5.